Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. So in this video we are going to be talking about The Undoing, which was an absolutely brilliant show with a brilliant stellar cast that everybody in the entire world was talking about it. All of the brilliant twists and turns, all of the brilliant cliffhangers at the end of each episode, and the killer question of who was the person that killed Elena Alves. Now in this video we are going to be talking about the final episode, and obviously that includes who the killer was. So if you haven't seen the final episode, then I would recommend going away to check out the final episode and then coming back to this video. But if you don't mind things being spoiled, then we are going to be talking about all things to do with The Undoing, including that killer twist in this video review. So from a storyline point of view, The Undoing has been absolutely brilliant. It's been so nice to see all of the different characters trying to deal with all of the chaos that they have to ensue throughout the series. But the big overarching question across all 6 episodes of this HBO miniseries was who was the person that killed Elena Alves. And actually, in a very big twist in this series, in a very similar vein to the Primal Fear movie, where the prime suspect was the actual suspect and it wasn't the person that you least suspect, and the actual person that killed Elena Alves was Jonathan, which was just so mind-blowing, as he literally wasn't the person that you thought. I mean, throughout the course of the 6 episodes, I literally cycled through all of the different possible characters, from Jonathan to Grace to Henry to Franklin to Fernando to Sylvia, all the way back to Jonathan. It's literally been such a roller coaster, and the entire series has been so intense, especially in that final episode where Jonathan truly was an absolute desperate man, literally trying to point the finger at everyone that he can, blaming everybody else so that he isn't the person that is in the limelight. And when all of the accusations are pointing towards him being the killer and all of the evidence is demonstrating that he is the killer as well, then he takes his son and tries to run away. And then even then, when he's still almost being caught, he tries to commit suicide. And he was such a complicated and sociopathic character that literally tried to get away with murder, but then all of the evidence was eventually pointing towards his direction, and so he couldn't get away with it any longer. I love the final big dramatic entrance from Grace and the Franklin character on the helicopter towards the end. That was very much aligned to the world of the rich and famous. And then I really liked as well at the end where they showed that the Grace character, the Franklin character, and the Henry character are trying to move on with their life after their world quite literally has been ripped apart. So from a cast and characters point of view, the casting of The Undoing is genuinely absolutely incredible. They've got such a stellar cast in this TV show, and they all play their characters so brilliantly, and it's just such a joy to see all of these true A-listers interact with each other on this brilliant TV series. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we have Hugh Grant, who plays the character of Jonathan, a very different type of character to what Hugh Grant is known for playing. In this show he's playing the very psychotic, very sociopathic character of Jonathan, and it was especially chilling when his own mother was explaining to Grace that Jonathan is somebody that doesn't feel any guilt or any remorse, especially as this was somebody who murdered his own sister, and he was trying to point the finger and point all of the blame at everyone that he could for the murder of Elena Alves, and trying to claim his innocence despite the fact that he brutally murdered the Elena character in such a crazy way. And even right in the beginning of the series he was lying about even having a job and where he's going. So he was a truly chilling and calculating villain in the show. Next up we have Nicole Kidman, who brilliantly led the show as the Grace character. Her performances were absolutely sensational, and she was always so composed, especially in the first half of the series, after all of the chaos that she's seeing and all of her world totally unravelling. She was always very calm and composed throughout all of it, until you could slowly see in the second half of the series how she's getting a lot more exhausted, her world is totally unravelling, and you can really see the impact that this is having on this character. And she was even trying to stay in her marriage despite everything literally turning upside down, until she could literally take no more, and until she could see that Jonathan's actions were totally unforgivable. And then at the end of the series she is finally able to move on from it all. Next up we have Sutherland, who did such a great performance as well in this series and played the patriarchal figure of the Grace character and of the world of The Undoing as well. Actually, he was clearly a billionaire who was just able to control everyone that he wanted to, and actually he was the person that I suspected the most throughout this series. I thought he was the person that murdered Elena Alves, so he was absolutely brilliant in this show. And I do feel like he was a little bit similar as well to his Trip Darling character from Dirty Sexy Money, so I thought Donald Sutherland was absolutely brilliant in this series. Next up we have Noah Jupe, who played the character of Henry, the son of Grace and Jonathan, who really did get swallowed up in his parents' chaos and was trying to defend Jonathan and was trying to keep all of his secrets and lies hidden, so really did get swallowed up into the mystery of this series. If they do a second series, then it would be nice to kind of see the impact that everything throughout this series has had on the Henry character, as he is clearly somebody that has gone through a lot of adversity and a lot of trauma throughout this series as well. We then have Noma, who was absolutely outstanding as the family lawyer Hayley. She was absolutely no nonsense, very unemotional, and truly capable of winning any case that she is given, so she truly earned her place as being the brilliant family lawyer. We then have Edgar Ramirez, who brilliantly played Detective Mendoza, who actually was correct right from the beginning. He knew that it was Jonathan straight from the bat, and actually he was proven right because it ended up being Jonathan for sure. Next up we have Lily Rabe, who played best friend Sylvia, and surprisingly a lot of people thought that Sylvia was the person that murdered Elena. I thought that could have been an interesting twist if that was the direction that they were going down, but clearly Sylvia was only just a best friend to the Grace character. And then finally you have the Elena character, who was the person that this whole series was based around, and she really did demonstrate that keeping secrets and lies really can destroy loads and loads and loads of people. So from a cast and character's point of view, The Undoing was absolutely sensational. So from a visuals point of view, I absolutely love the visuals in this show. I really do feel like they show the world of the elite in New York really, really well, and the show really does beg the question about whether or not the perfect life is really all that it cracked up to be. And I really feel like the visuals show light and dark really, really nicely. So they show the light side in terms of all of the extravagant parties and the lifestyle that these rich and entitled people live, but then it also shows the very dark side of what the rich and entitled people are also capable of doing. So from a visuals point of view, I feel like it communicates this show incredibly well. So from a comparisons point of view, I do feel like The Undoing is a very uniquely placed show in terms of everything that's on offer. I mean, it is a very premium, glossy HBO series in a very similar vein to Big Little Lies, Sharp Objects and Succession, but it does have a very unique murder mystery aspect to it. And whilst movies have this, such as Murder Mystery, Murder on the Orient Express, Knives Out, etc., because it's got a weekly run to it, has loads of different twists and turns and loads of different cliffhangers, you're constantly changing your mind in terms of who you think it is for each week. So I guess from a murder mystery aspect, you could compare it to Scream and Desperate Housewives, but like I said right in the beginning, it is a very uniquely placed show in terms of the world building, the characters, the location, and the unravelling nature for all of the different characters. So from a comparison point of view, whilst there are aspects that you can compare to other TV shows and movies, I do actually feel like it's a pretty unique miniseries. So overall, I have to say, I absolutely loved The Undoing. It was truly such a fun, gripping, and engaging series with truly brilliant cast, excellent storytelling. I loved all of the different cliffhangers, all of the different twists and turns, and the big mystery in terms of who was the person that murdered Elena Alves. And I literally loved how the entire world were talking about this show, always guessing about all the different twists and turns and who was that killer reveal going to be. So for all of those reasons, I have to give The Undoing a solid 8.5 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.